Good afternoon. Welcome to the Glens Falls Board of Public Safety. It's 4 p.m. Wednesday, June 12, 2024. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We start every Board of Public Safety meeting with public comment. So if anybody would like to address the Board of Public Safety, I'd like to ask you to come up to this area and tell us your name and address so that we can, Board of Public Safety can hear your concerns. There we go. You can sit if you like. That's fine. It's good to see you.
My name is Steve Van Gilder. I live at 2 Harrison Place in the city of Glens Falls.
Steve?
Steven.
Gilder?
Yeah.
Right around the corner from where you live, Chamber.
Yeah.
And we all went to high school together.
Me and my wife, we walk our dogs every day. The constant speed on South Street in the early morning hours, between 7 and say 9ish. It's like a raceway.
What part of South are you?
We're talking anywhere from First Street to Ninth Street.
Oh, okay.
Well, we walk down Ninth Street. We walk down Staple Street. Staple Street ain't too bad. The big one would be, like First Street and South Street. It's like a raceway. And what I'm looking to maybe accomplish is, I went into the chief's office and just made my, presence in there, and I asked for patrol. Maybe they would do it at roll call and have somebody in there. The other issue is maybe a stop sign will prevent that somewhere. I don't know if that's at 3rd Street. I don't know if it's at 9th Street. I don't know if it's at Woodlawn. And on 1st Street, it's that's a straight shot to Staples, so you can get going 40 miles an hour down that road.
Is your issue on both?
Both South and?
Are you talking First and South?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Again, I walk 1st Street, 2nd Street, 3rd Street, 4th Street. I walk Garrow.
Yeah.
Again, it's once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and there's other issues
Yeah,
outside of that.
Well, we can take a look, and we're guided by the New York State Manual Traffic Code book that provides we can't just put in. It's actually illegal to put a stop sign in to slow traffic down, believe it or not.
Correct.
So we will take a look, and South and First are the primary concerns. And you're saying you walk it at 7 a.m. Is that predominantly when you're seeing a problem? Do you not see it later in the day, or it just happens to be that you're walking early in the morning?
That's when we're walking, so it's more lines of when people are going to work.
Gotcha. Okay. So let the board take a look and consider it. We can also ask Chief to run some reports on those streets if we had concerns. A lot of times the first set of concerns we'll ask Chief to put it on the speed detection unit that we have that tells you slow down, and we try that for a while, and usually provides temporary relief, and then as it goes on more and more, then we look at right now the Board of Public Safety is looking at different traffic controlling devices in different locations, so it's worth taking a look at, Steve. And I see, Steve, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say Chris.
No,
Brother Chris. Sorry.
Steve, you've indicated that that we previously have had the speed control device.
Yeah, it's been out there in prior years.
On which street?
It was on South Street. It was down near Stewart.
Okay. And you're finding that is the traffic the most bothersome on South going to the city, or
yeah. Well, I mean, we've noticed it both ways.
both ways?
But it's more toward the city in the morning.
Okay.
And
On South.
Yeah.
And on First Street, are you finding that they cut across First Street to come down South, or what are you finding on First Street?
Well, I'm just again, it's people racing either to beat the traffic coming down Hudson.
Okay.
It could be, people trying to take the back roads because of the influx coming off of 18
Correct.
into the city.
Correct.
So they could be coming down, like 3rd Street down to from Gardner down to Third and
Right.
coming down Staple to First.
So you indicated that First and South were your primary concerns.
Correct.
Correct.
The other ones have stop signs.
The other
Well,
ones-
like, except for like Fifth.
Yeah. As the mayor indicated, we cannot
Correct.
apply
Yeah.
a stop sign or it
Correct.
forbids us
There's
to do that.
guidelines.
It's a traffic control device. We
Yep.
cannot do that. So that's unfortunate on First Street. I understand your
Yeah.
concern. Okay, thank you.
Just one other thing, last Friday, out on South and Third Street, a cat got hit by a vehicle going fast, and that was, of course, we had to see that, so it was.
That was on the
gruesome.
corner.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
okay.
Okay,
That's
thank
good.
you very much.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you for
Appreciate
Thanks, Steve.
bringing it to our
Thanks, Steve.
attention.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamie Lennon.
Jamie, how are you?
I live at 118 Eggleston Street Extension in Corinth. I work at Open Door Mission, right down on Warren Street at 226 Warren Street. I wanted to just address you briefly about a parking problem that we're having on Platt Street. So during the day, when we have several volunteers, several individuals at the mission, parking spills out onto Platt Street. And what we're finding is that when folks are parking on both sides of the street, it's making a sort of a narrow way through that street. And it's also causing some tension with our neighbors. So I'm just here to just ask if the city may consider restricting parking to one side of that street or the other. For now, we are doing our best to tell our volunteers to park on one side of the street to sort of mitigate that problem on our own, but just wanted to bring that to the city's attention.
Is there an issue during a certain time period?
Yeah, I think the issue is primarily between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
And about how many volunteers use Platt Street to park?
I would say most of our volunteers
Can you
use
give
Platt
me-
Street. During the day, we probably have approximately 20 to 30 volunteers at the mission. Yeah,
During the days.
yeah, during the day, Monday through Friday.
And how many can you fit in your, I know you have parking there, because,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, so we have a parking lot on the Platt Street side that we use. We can fit approximately 10 there, and the staff often park on the street.
Great. Oh, yeah, you were talking volunteers, but you got staff as well. And are you finding most of the people that are parking on it are your staff
Our parking
on
on Platt
Platt?
Street, most of them are volunteers and staff.
Volunteers and
Yeah,
staff.
absolutely. Yep.
And you think that if they all parked on one side, it would lessen the concern of the neighbors?
Absolutely, yeah. They've complained a few times.
And this is on the west side of Platt.
So yeah, what I'm encouraging them to do
The neighbors.
is park on the west side of Platt and leave the east side open.
Okay.
I'm happy to change that recommendation if the city was to fit. But yeah,
You realize that right now, parking on all city streets is limited to 2 hours, right, Jamie?
okay.
So
Yeah,
that,
but-
just so you know, it's
Yeah.
citywide. It's just that unless there's a complaint, we don't regularly enforce it. One, we don't have the police to do so. And second, we want to keep people in their driveways, in their parking lots. We don't, the less cars, the theory goes, less cars in the street, the safer the streets are, right? And so that law is not regularly patrolled, but we have neighbors that are kind of at war with each other, right? Some neighbors they know the guy could park in the driveway, but he parks in front of their house every day and he's angry. And so that's how it ends up. Most people are unaware that law is there and it's been there. So you might want to let your volunteers know. You might ask them also to start carpooling. I don't know, it's tough it's great to get a volunteer in the first place. And to ask them to do more is always a challenge. And I know you've got to be aware of that. You need those volunteers and it's a great program that you're running. So I don't want to, I don't want to.
What's across the street over there?
The old,
Native
Native
textiles.
textiles, yeah.
Oh, native textile.
Yeah, Maybe we could go, I know that's,
Native American.
who owns that? Jerry Nudie.
Jerry Newton. Mhm.
Yeah, maybe he'd be willing to let me.
Mayor, what's that lot on the other side of the
Yeah.
open door mission?
I was just gonna ask that. Do you have access to that
We
lot?
do, and Jerry Newton has been super generous in allowing us access through that lot. Yeah, so he's already stepped out and been very generous to the
Okay.
organization.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You're just drawing that many people in to help run your programs and support the folks, right? Gotcha.
I have to ask, and forgive me, do you need that many volunteers on a daily basis?
Yeah, I think we do. We're serving probably 50 to 60 people for lunch from the community. We have food pantries food pantry that's open 3 days a week. We have beds for almost 60 people to stay there year-round
So
in our shelter.
you
So
said 20 to 30 volunteers, so that's 20 to 30 cars that are parked on
it
Front
could be,
Street?
yeah,
It
it
could
could
be.
be. And again, Mr. Nudie has been very generous, so some of them do utilize those that are there for the food pantry, may utilize
Mhm.
the other side.
Have you asked your employees to possibly carpool or
Yeah.
do something? And what is your response with that?
Yeah, we do what we can, yeah, when we can to carpool, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah, you
You
guys.
suggest, if you were king, I'd suggest, west side, east side?
I think I would prefer to park on the west side and leave the east side. Our neighbors on the east side have been the ones,
Concern?
yeah, that are concerned.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys hearing me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So can I ask a couple of you to take, between now and the next Board of Public Safety meeting, take a ride down, see what your thoughts are?
Absolutely.
Sure, great. Any other public comment? Not hearing any. Before we go to the next AGFTC Broad Street traffic study that we want to talk about, I want to formally welcome Bob Haas as a new board member. This is his first Board of Public Safety meeting meeting. Well, thank you for contributing your time to being on this board. Sometimes it's a thankless job, so thank you again for doing that. We've got him on the hook now, we're not letting him go.
There you go.
All right?
Too late now.
Next item is Aaron and AGFTC to discuss the results of the Hudson Ave Broad Street traffic study.
Okay, most of you have seen me before. I guess I'll introduce myself to Bob. I'm Aaron Franklin, Public Guide at Glens Falls Transportation Council. Are you serious? I'm never in training this. All right, I'm not going to talk long. I'm just going to introduce folks for Martin and Judas, Dan Rourke and Chris Hannett. They're going to go over the results of the traffic study for a couple of intersections and locations along Hudson Avenue that were requested by the mayor and Glens Falls Hospital that we have a look at to see if we can come up with some pedestrian-related improvements. Some of the recommendations that you'll hear from these guys today are consistent with some of the ideas that Chief Smith had presented to this group several months ago. So I'm going to let these guys take it from here, and I'm happy to answer any questions afterwards. What we're looking for today from this group is general consent for us, AGFTC, to release the draft report that was sent around to you folks for public comment and review for a minimum period of 2 weeks. We'd love to have the city's help in publicizing that on their communication mechanisms as well. After which, following the public comment period results, we will bring those back to the consultants and the study advisory committee, which includes city staff and the hospital, process those results and wrap it up into a final report. But with that, I'll let Dan and Chris take it away. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, Dan Rourke, the Bartle, Judas, Chris Hannett. So we did this project through term agreement we have with AGFTC. So the project was actually Hudson Avenue pedestrian improvements that we were asked to look at.
Everybody remember where we were at?
So we had two distinct areas, the intersection with South Street and then the crossing that's up on that board, School Street, kind of where people are crossing from the hospital. So to start the project, we actually deployed video cameras out there for 48 hours or so. And then we went back to the office, we watched the cameras, and we kind of made observations from what we saw happening. And a lot of things were consistent with things that we heard prior to the project starting. So guess, hand it over to Chris to, we'll kind of walk through what we found and some of the recommendations that derive from those observations. If you want to start with South Street.
Yeah, that's fine. I was ready to start with that.
Start with the merge of South.
Do we need to walk this?
I think this is.
What's his name, Chris?
Chris, I didn't get the last name.
No, Glenn, I didn't either.
So that's where South and Hudson come across, right? We know that we've had some struggles with the, oh, there is no light there. Go ahead, I'll let you.
Yeah, so there's no traffic light here. This is stop controlled on South Street only there. Hudson Ave, speed limits, I think 30 through there, but people can generally travel much faster, just based on state DOT traffic counts that they have. They usually have speed data associated with that. You can see that, but there is a crosswalk right here, and there is a school that is down here as well off the map right there. So I think one of the major concerns that brought this up was students traveling to school, crossing this crosswalk right here and then heading down South Street. We briefly looked at other alternative routes that they could take, but there really are no other immediate or direct routes that those students could take to cross there. So, you know, through our observations that we made that were collected by the traffic cameras, we did observe the occasional vehicle stopping to actually let someone cross the road when they were standing at the curb ramp, but in most cases people did not stop when people were standing ready to cross the road. One major deficiency that we did notice at this crosswalk here is a lack of sight distance coming down south along Hudson Ave there, or south in this direction anyway. There are several trees that are planted right here, right next to the curb, that do limit that sight distance. Recommended sight distance is 250 feet, and right there you only have about 200 or so. So it is short of the recommended sight distance there. So we did come up with several recommendations for that. I think we listed them in terms of how simple it would be or how immediately we could get them installed. So first one there is just installing fluorescent yellow-green advanced pedestrian warning signs in accordance with the state DOT and MPCD. So that would include a sign with the pedestrian and the wording ahead, approximately 200 feet in front of the crosswalk.
Where would that be roughly on that?
That would be back right about here or so. So that would be there, so that would warn you that, you know, pedestrians could be in the roadway.
Does
And
that
then-
flash?
That one would not
This
flash,
is
no.
no lights, right?
We do have that recommendation, but that would be further down. So
Okay.
we tried to keep it cost effective. So,
Okay.
you know, start with the cheapest, easiest to install, and then work our way down into more, you know, more advanced options, of course, and more costly. And then, of course, the pedestrian with the downward arrow. So the signs that are installed right now are not quite standard for a crosswalk according to the MUTCD. So they do have to have the down arrow. when they
Right now,
walk
you
right
have
at
the yellow sign of the pedestrian, but not the arrow that goes down. So the change that we're proposing is change it to the fluorescent yellow, so it'll stand out a little more, with the arrow down at the crosswalk.
Yep. And
Okay.
you can have that reflective sign strip on there too, that goes on the post, that just makes it that much, stand out that much more. And again, along with that, there is a little bit of a median right here as well, so you could put that about a 3 foot sign in the middle there that says state law yield to pedestrians. Doesn't work well in the winter, but snowplows probably would hit those, but you know, I think those are pretty highly effective. I've seen, it's just a nice reminder to have that, and people
There
do
is one
usually.
down farther.
Yeah.
They usually have one down by the Surgery Center.
Mhm.
You're talking the same thing up there?
Not up there,
Are you
but
talking the thing in the middle of the road?
yeah, the thing in the middle of the road though, yeah, those do seem to be,
Yeah, yeah.
those do seem to be pretty effective
If they don't have-
in getting people to stop or yield when people are approaching the crosswalk,
Okay.
so. Then next down, installing high visibility crosswalks, so the paint does fade over time, of course, so just bringing that back up to of the new condition. Improving that sight distance then would help as well, cutting a couple trees there, if possible. That would definitely help to keep visibility and, you know, just bring the sight distance line a little bit further back too, so you see people that are approaching this bump out here too. So there is, you know, about 10 or 12 feet between the sidewalk there and the edge of the curb there. So as people start to approach that crosswalk, just having a greater distance to see them would improve safety there as well. We did also notice, I don't know if it got hit, but it looks like there's a light pole base here right now. Maybe it got hit at one point, maybe not, but improving the lighting by putting a light right in front of the crosswalk there to help illuminate that will help people out at nighttime. So, and then of course installing the rapid flashing beacons is another option there to just maintain the existing intersection control and improve safety.
I just wanted to jump in on the recommendation for the high visibility crosswalk. It's not just a matter of replacing the existing crosswalk that's there. You'll notice the rendering has those perpendicular lines that are crossing the entire road. Those seem to help significantly with visibility, and there's not very many of them in the city. There's either the two perpendicular ones with no stripes in the middle, if you will, or just the stripes and not the bounding. So this is calling for a little bit higher profile of a crosswalk treatment.
Yeah. DOT calls those type LS crosswalks. They call them ladder bars in the middle there too. So
Okay.
But yeah, high visibility type LS crosswalks.
Okay. So the one going across Hudson is not high visibility?
No, that's right. Correct.
Not at all.
Yeah.
That's just got those rungs of the ladder
Okay.
there. It doesn't have
It would
two
be
parallel bars.
adding both the rungs to the ladder.
Yep.
Sorry to jump in.
No, that's good.
I also want to put something in the packets that everyone has. You have the board that we're looking at, but also behind it, behind the first page is a figure showing the site distance that Chris was talking about, and then also showing the clearing limits of the trees that we would actually propose that need to be removed.
Yeah, so that one there, the first page is the site distance, the recommended clearing, and then I think the next page there shows the actual site distance, the visibility of a car approaching at 250 feet away, the minimum recommended distance for stopping sign. So shows the visibility of the crosswalk. So if some of those options were tried and there were still safety issues, or you wanted to jump ahead and look at other options as well, we could change the intersection control here, and that would be either installing a new traffic signal system, looking into that, I should say, because you can't just go and install one. So MUTCD has a warrant process that you would go through, you know, looking at traffic volumes and
Same thing as the stop sign you were just talking about.
Right.
you know,
Same idea.
and all that. And so we would look at that first, and if the traffic signal is not warranted there based on that process, then there is the option to also install what's called a high-intensity activated crosswalk system or signal, also known as a hawk, which are not common in this area right now, but or in the state really in general, but they are gaining some traction through DOT. You may see some popping up maybe further south in the state.
Is that the ones that light up on the,
So those look like this guy right here, which again is on your packet in the lower right, but it's got two red lights on top, two signal heads, usually two red lights on top and a yellow one in the middle. So when you push the button to cross, the red lights alternate flashing for a period of time. I think it starts yellow actually. I think I had that.
Yeah,
started.
actually,
Yeah.
you push the button, it flashes yellow, and then it goes red, and then for a period of time to allow the pedestrians to cross. It's
Yeah.
basically
That's in the whole-
a pedestrian activated traffic signal that doesn't have to, you don't necessarily need to meet the traffic signal warrants in order to allow to be allowed to consider installing a hawk. It's a lower threshold of volumes that you need to meet. As Chris said, they're uncommon. I have some personal experience with them out west. One really caught me by surprise before I knew what they were. But it was a little bit of a learning curve with them. But again, as Chris said, they're gaining some traction. They're federally approved, so you're eligible to do them. They're just not really ingrained into driver notions on how to react to them yet.
Yeah, there'd be like an educational component that you would need to do for the area, because most people are gonna be confused.
Did you say you did a video study?
Yeah, we recorded video.
What was the time period that you did?
We did that in November of 2023.
No, I meant the time of the day.
It was a 48-hour continuous collection.
The school was in session.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Did you happen to notice pedestrian traffic in the morning?
Yes, definitely.
What did you see for the kids?
So the majority of the pedestrians using this intersection
Yeah,
appeared to us as to actually be people going to the hospital, whether they were working or going to the hospital, but because the cars would be parked here, you can kind of see the cars parked here,
yeah.
and then people would get out and walk this way. And the cars would stay there till 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then the cars would be gone.
So it's not pedestrians going to school, crossing there.
That wasn't they were there, but that wasn't the majority of the people that
It
we
wasn't.
saw. No.
Thank you.
Could you look and tell us how many were crossing, because they would cross to their, where are they going? From where to where? What school?
Crossing and
They're
going
going
south.
Cross.
Village Green's a big cross.
So we're going to Big Cross, right? Could you just take a look at that and tell us how many there were actually going to Big Cross?
How many students we
Yeah.
had?
Yeah, you can,
You could just assume that everybody that crossed there and went across the street is going, even if it's a little high number, at least give you the high
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
Maybe a couple were going to school, they were going somewhere else, but,
Somewhere in
right,
between home and
you could
school.
just assume that they all were. It'd be great to know what that number is. But you're saying the primary of all the people that were at that intersection during that 48 hours were actually people that appeared to be parking and then walking to the hospital, right?
That's what it
and
appeared.
that makes sense if they come across
It does.
Hudson
It
to
does.
Yeah.
get to the main
Yeah.
entrance there to the
Yes.
hospital. 'Cause
Yeah.
Yes.
they'll go through the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that makes
And,
sense.
and we also know that because we haven't had a steady person working in our parking enforcement, for a while. The gentleman we had, Tony, retired. We've hired several people that haven't made it. We've had difficulty filling the position. We know that many of the employees that are from the hospital are parking illegally on Hudson Avenue all day. Even though the hospital has provided parking for them, they know it. They've encouraged them to park in the parking garage, but we know they're not. And they're not because they're not getting ticketed.
Also on South Street.
Yeah.
Also on South Street.
And the hospital is a great community partner, one of which we want to help in every way we can. The largest employer in the community, but at the same time, they know that their employees are not parking where they have provided parking for them, because and they're not the only one. The bank would be doing. I don't think the bank employees are parking out here, but in their other areas, we know that our employees of downtown businesses are parking illegally in our parking spaces, because they know that they're not getting ticketed, and they also know that they're not getting ticketed. If I park illegally every day from 8 to 4, and I get caught a couple times a week,
Right.
and pay a $10 parking ticket, that it's worth a lot less than it is, that's nothing to pay for parking. And so they take the ticket and consider it their parking fee. So it's a side note, just so everybody's aware. Will you tell me about the install number 5, install rectangular rapid
Yeah.
flashing beacons?
Yep, so the rectangular rapid flashing beacons.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, so those are push button activated by the pedestrian. So as soon as the pedestrian pushes the button, there are a set of almost like yellow strobe lights, if you will, that light up right below the yellow sign there. They light up, they alternate flashing.
You
and
put those
everything.
where?
And those would go right across Hudson Ave here, so they go on both sides of that.
Would you also suggest they go across south at Hudson in that other intersection, or is that not as necessary?
I don't think that's necessary, just because this is stop control right here, so people have to stop anyway there. And then, you know, if you're stopped here to turn left, no.
Now, those in five only have the yellow caution, correct?
I'm sorry?
In the picture, the fifth picture, they only have flashing cautions,
Correct,
whereas the
yeah.
one below have
That one has
caution and red.
Yeah, that has a full red,
Yes.
yes. But this is probably like 4 times more expensive than these would be, at least.
And the local example of those RRFBs is what is outside the Kensington Road School.
I know.
You'll notice,
Yeah, it does.
some of them that have experienced it will notice a certain amount of dysfunction with your current system flashing when it's not being activated. But assuming it was working properly, that would be the recommendation, that type of elimination and control.
Depending on the budget.
Right. So you've got the first 5 existing intersection control are what your first step would be, see how that calms traffic and addresses the problem, with the last 2, the hawk signal being potential if the problems continue to persist, is the recommendation, or some findings, suggestions?
You're looking at me, so yes, those are basically taking it to the next level. We didn't put in the scope for these folks to get into a full-blown signal warrant analysis because there's a lot of data collection in there that's necessary in order to justify considering installing a signal. We opted to, again, as Dan said, kind of take these in order of ease of implementation. I won't say that anything's easy, everything costs money.
Sure.
But you know, these are listed progressionally as simplest treatments to the more costly treatments. So those, it's anticipated, I guess, that 1 through 5, if taken in any order, and you know, you could probably do these a la carte. They don't necessarily need to be progressional. You can choose some things off of that list if you wanted to. Ideally, those help you solve the problem. Yes.
Yes. The original study with the police is what caused us to take the action for this. Yes. So this is the real study. He asked about the police, didn't we? And we did look at this a year or so ago, right, Chief? That
Yes.
we did, and that's, yes. So, yes, Bob, we did, and that's what led to this more extensive look at it.
And that's why I noted in the beginning that some of the recommendations here were consistent with what the chief had been recommending earlier.
That's wide
So
open.
Yep.
That section, and you've got ambulance, fire
Wide open.
equipment, and there's no.
There's no getting around, this is a concerned area.
It's
and-
definitely
So thank you for your work. The question is, anybody off the top of your head, and I know you can't give me a solid number, any idea how much a install rectangular rapid flash beacon might cost somebody?
Put
A
those in?
municipality?
Yeah, I can tell you.
Yeah, I think it's in the report.
Oh,
We had
awesome.
in our report.
Thank you. And you could just ask me to read the report. Appreciate that.
There is a second location in the study.
Yeah, oh no, I know that.
Okay.
Before we get there.
We got about 25,000.
25,000 for those. And then what about the hawks? How much are the hawks?
Hawks would probably be 100.
They're 180,000.
All right.
For the hawk?
Yes.
You've seen that in the report, or you just know that out of your study?
Right there.
Very good, very good. Somebody
That's
should
true.
read the report.
Read it.
Yeah. No, that's great. 25?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for number 5.
Is that per sign?
No, it's for the full
For the
system,
two.
for the two, yeah.
So,
But then, you know,
let's
again,
talk about the next, other questions? No.
okay, yeah, other questions?
Great. Next intersection.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So this one here, the primary focus is right here, right in the front of the surgical specialist, Glens Hospital at 14 Hudson Ave. It's not really intersection related on Hudson Ave, but pretty darn close. So our observations indicated that there was a significant amount of people that would park in the parking lot here and then cross mid-block here across School Street, not utilizing either of the intersections at either end there. And we did notice a lot of the people that were visiting this were either, older or had some kind of disability, cast on their foot or something, or in a wheelchair. So it is kind of a lot to ask somebody to walk all the way down here, an extra 200-300 feet when they could walk 30 feet across a roadway, especially when there is some kind of physical impairment for those people. So, this is a pretty low volume roadway right here. We do not have traffic data on it, but just based on our video collection and everything, it is pretty low volume. Fair amount of ambulances that would cross it, and then I believe people that would work in the hospital area and everything park there as well. So our basic recommendation is to this is an old aerial image right here. We don't have it updated. I believe construction on this parking lot was completed in October, so Google hasn't updated their mapping yet, but we would want to formalize a sidewalk on the north side here, provide a crosswalk with signage, the pedestrian sign with the down arrow there, and add a curb ramp here on the north side, and just formalize it and add the warning signs in, so people that are turning into School Street will see the signs and notice to expect potential for pedestrians crossing here. And then remove this sidewalk that they have installed there. So they installed sidewalks on both sides of their driveway, so we would just want to direct pedestrians to cross at one sidewalk there and use the crosswalk there on that side. That way we just provide the advanced warning for drivers on School Street there.
Can I make a comment?
Yep.
Just you want to put that crosswalk on the opposite side, because that's where they put a sidewalk in there.
There's a sidewalk on both sides, sir.
Yeah.
There's one on the north side and the south side of those driveways. They're opting to choose that one because I think it lines up better with the main entrance.
Yeah, but everybody's parking in that lot
Right.
and walking straight across.
Right.
Right, so we put it right here on the north side of the driveway.
Yeah, the primary reason for this
Right,
spot
but
here.
what I'm saying is you're having people, you're trying to have people drive across, walk across a parking lot when you have traffic coming out there.
Right, but the reason we want to cross people here is the main entrance is here, and this is an loading dock. People pull up and get dropped off here.
Right.
And we don't want to put the crosswalk right in the middle of that loading zone.
You could put it back down a little bit.
But then you're making,
But with the sidewalk, right where your arrow is where the sidewalk is.
right, but we're proposing that sidewalk to move. So we're not directing people to that spot anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Just the sidewalk change, others? Sorry.
You'll note there's a complication with the sidewalk that where it would hit on the 14 Hudson side would require some infrastructure adjustments with the drainage and curb as shown on the image in order to run that crosswalk perpendicular to the roadway.
Yeah.
Will there be a curb on the, I guess it would be the west side or the east side of the crosswalk, or is that?
That would be part of this altering the drainage structure and installing a new curb ramp here. So
Well, I'm
we'd have
thinking
that
of
ramp.
folks that are in wheelchairs or crutches. Will there be a curb on either side of the ladder?
There's not one on the west side presently, and if you're adjusting the east side, you would build in the accommodation by adding the ramp if necessary to be a continuation of the
I
crosswalk.
think we want a ramp on that side.
You'd make a ramp no matter what. You
Yeah.
never put in
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
crosswalk
you've kinda-
today without one.
You gotta have a curb.
And you've got kind of an at-grade situation where there's a gentle slope up from the roadway to the entrance of the building. So
But there is,
probably not too hard to
there's
do.
a stormwater drain there.
Okay, good.
Moving that's gonna
Yeah, I'm in
cost
that
more than
building.
any other
I'll be
recommendation there is. And so we need to look at that because that's a big deal, right? It's again, moving that storm drain, we don't know if it's connecting to, I'm about to throw a bunch of curveballs in here, so we might need to redo some of this, but
This,
go ahead.
we would need to alter the top of it so that the actual structure could stay in place and we could the top could be moved off to the side.
Oh.
So there's other ways to,
Without moving the drain?
without having to move the associated pipes and all of that.
Gotcha.
So there's a few ways around that to make it a little cheaper.
Okay.
It's still gonna be a few
Great.
$1,000s
Yeah, oh, yeah, I was worried about moving the entire, if
Yeah.
it's a storm drain. So here's the, I don't know if it's a problem, but I wanna bring everybody aware. The hospital is now currently moving their helipad, which is here, moving it back here. And they're looking at changing their entire street and putting a curb in that goes here. They're looking to bring their emergency room entrance, you can get this from, well, I don't know that you will, I appreciate you've done this work, so now we just found out, we just found the details of it recently. So the hospital is looking to bring their emergency vehicle in, say here, okay? And then come in and so they're gonna take out or add a curb here to stop people from coming straight in this way. The helipad is the reason that they're doing this, and also probably to improve their access to their emergency room. They're expanding the emergency room. We just realized what a problem that causes for us, because we're redoing the entire storm and separating storm and sewer water and redoing all the streets, all the sidewalks, crosswalks, and the paving for all of Park, all down Elm, all the way past the DRI to Elm and Pine. So from all the way from Elm and Pine, all the way down Elm Street to hit Park, it's the four-way intersection that you guys did, helped us determine that we're doing the four-way now stop signs at Park and Elm,
Yes.
right? And then we're redoing the storm and sidewalks and all of that throughout this entire area. And we just found out in time from the hospital, we knew that they were working on the project. Again, they're a great community member, so it's not like anybody's done anything on purpose. We just didn't realize that the changing of the addition of the ER, the changing of the helipad, that also included a changing of where the ambulances come in, and that this is now going to be sidewalk. And they also have an entrance in to one of the, this is a hospital parking lot. And so they're even going to change where that entrance is. And my engineer was in today going, okay, we got to change something, because it was in our plans to redo. This work is happening like this week, next week. Yeah. And we went, oh, okay, hold on, we might have some problems. So it also is going to change, I think, it makes it more likely, Steve, that this is the better spot, because they're literally going to be pulling an ambulance in here. And so I still think this is a good recommendation. We still look at it. But I need to let my engineer know, because I'll bet you this is news to him too. We're tough to communicate between all 14 departments and all these projects, and sometimes the project starts, DRI started only 7 years ago.
I guess my question is, how does a hospital take the intersection of Park and School Street and do that without the city knowing?
Well, this is actually hospital park.
I'm
Hospital.
just saying down farther. You
Yeah.
said they're gonna put a curb cut in
They're
there?
they're suggesting that they turn this curb this way and put in sidewalk, and this is their land. This is not School Street anymore.
Okay.
This is their part of their entrance into their parking lots and into their ER, and they're reconfiguring it to make it for their expansion. So it's not, it looks like School Street, and you're driving on it, you continue forward, you think you're still on School Street, but you're actually in hospital parking.
I'm just wondering about emergency vehicles coming in from Park Street.
Yeah, absolutely. We're thinking the same thing. Yeah, we're looking at it with them, our engineering team and stuff. So, is there any other changes that you think that besides the maybe adjusting of the drain and the entrance, that anything else that needs to happen there? Because we know that, right, the biggest problem was that the folks from the hospital that were coming to the surgical specialist kind of walking right through the middle of the entranceway, right? And we all said when we first talked about this, well, why not make them go here? Why not make them go here? Well, we can tell them to go here, but they're just coming out of their parking lot and walking to the main entrance. So this does address the concerns that the hospital had too as well, right? Yes.
Mayor, I have a concern. Is the entrance, exit still going to be the same in the hospital parking lot? So are people still going to exit
Here?
that parking lot, which primarily they go out, turn left, to go out to Hudson Ave? Is that still going to be in existence?
As far as I know, but again, I don't think there's a change to this entrance of their parking lot. I believe that what we're looking at is a new entrance for instead of the ambulances coming in here, that they're gonna come in this way. But let me compare it all. Your concern is there, Tammy, talk about that. I don't think there's
My
a change.
concern is they're going to exit that parking lot, they're going to want to turn left. Someone then steps off the curb. So you've got people coming out of that parking lot to turn left. You're gonna come to a nose of a crosswalk. You know, somebody coming across east or west.
So they're crossing in this
Correct,
crosswalk.
correct.
You're pulling out.
Correct.
And you're worried
You've
that they're
gotta
gonna
do
turn that way.
You've got to do an immediate stop. I find that
But it's wide open.
What
concerning.
else would you do?
I mean, it's
I
wide
find that
open.
concerning. I
In the
just
glass
find-
half full context, as you know, this is a dated aerial, so this is gate controlled now.
Yes,
So, in the positive side, this vehicle is stopped, has an opportunity to look left
So
and
is
right,
that
and
gate-
it's pulling out at a relatively low speed compared to somebody that's already got a little bit of a head of steam up on the road.
Correct.
Just one positive.
is that gate going to be controlled by any kind of device that someone's now crossing east or west?
I have to fully admit, and I've expressed this to the hospital staff, I have no idea why that gate is there, but I believe it's just actuated by an approaching vehicle.
Okay.
I drove through that this morning and pulling out of this lot, and you pull up to the gate that's down, there's some sort of sensor, it recognizes the cars there, raises the gate, and you turn left. And I had to wait for a gentleman walking out of the center, walking up the ramp, ignoring the sign that says don't walk in the ramp.
Right, and I think that's one of the issues that we wanted to get in front of. There's signing
That's why
there now
this is the
saying
beginning of an
don't
addressing.
walk here.
Yeah.
It's trying, right?
I also have concern of the crosswalk that close to Hudson Avenue. Unfortunately, I've had to go to the surgical specialist there, got a bad knee, and I'm not gonna walk to that corner, and I'm not gonna walk to that corner with a hurt knee when I have it. I admit, I do go directly across. But coming from Hudson Avenue, coming west on Hudson Avenue, and now turning south onto south onto School Street, that's very short. It looks long there, but it's a very short turn to where you're gonna hit that crosswalk.
Sure.
It is.
And so I'm just concerned of the placement of the crosswalk. That's my whole issue.
Yeah.
I'm
Is it-
very
But
concerned
you
with the
just,
placement.
but you can't, if you don't put that crosswalk, I get that you're concerned, and I would agree. It's not much distance from there to there.
Not at all.
Or from there to there. But if right now, you don't have that there. And you just admitted that you walk down the middle of the
Absolutely,
street
I do.
anyway.
I do.
So isn't it safer to have that crosswalk there than not to have one?
I
Wouldn't
don't
it be
know.
better for you to be on a crosswalk than to be wandering across the street, which everybody's doing now?
I don't know that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Dan, Chris,
Good.
is it fair to say, Dan and Chris, that you looked, I mean, both of these are here now?
Yep.
And that you had the opportunity to analyze both of those locations and choose which one of these would start as the starting point for continuing across the roadway, and you
Correct.
landed on this one because it had some advantages, correct?
Yes.
Does it head right to the?
Goes right to the front door.
Right, which is the path of.
I
The other one
understand.
exposes them to car people
Yeah.
dropping off.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, someone,
Right?
yeah, so the loading zone starts here,
Exactly.
ends here,
Right.
and so somebody could park right in the middle of that
That's- and they
crosswalk
do.
right there.
Yes,
Well, they do.
they do.
They do.
Right, which we don't want, yeah, so by putting it at the end of the loading zone on this side
That's the
here,
best.
I think
that's
we're
the
in
best spot.
Best option you
a
have.
not,
yeah.
a non-win
And
situation.
adding the signage, adding the crosswalk
Yeah.
will make it safer than it
But
is.
Yeah, we'll
with
do
the
the best,
hospital,
yeah, the best of
working with the
current
hospital to
situation.
notify the employees, let's use the crosswalk.
Yeah.
Of
course,
yeah.
So,
Keep in mind, you're putting also emergency vehicles into that too, if you're putting a new access into there.
Yeah.
yeah, Well, you're not putting new access, the access is there.
No,
They're
no, no,
changing.
the crosswalk.
Yeah, no, if you don't put, you don't have the crosswalk there now at any kind, and everybody's using it. And nobody's using the current crosswalk that is here or here.
You're correct.
And so we know that. That's why we did, why we're here, to try to come up with something better. And although I agree, this isn't the optimal, right? I think probably the safest thing to do would be not to have your exit of your parking lot there.
I agree.
But, you know.
That is 100%
But then where would you,
correct.
and that's for the hospital to decide. This is probably at least one safer option. Not the safest maybe, but, and also, do me a favor, I'd like to see if you guys, any more comments, let's hear it, and when we're done, we'll make a motion to let this go public and for us to put it out to get public comment. We're not approving or denying anything today. We're just accepting the report and thanking the people for making the report. And let's get 2 weeks of public comment. We'll bring it back up at our next Board of Public Safety meeting to talk about next steps. Fair enough?
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Any other comments, though? I didn't mean to cut off public comment. Yes?
Thank you, Mayor. My name is John. I work at Glens Hospital, and we brought this to the Board of Public Safety some time ago. And I just wanted to remind everyone for the Hudson crossing that the principal at the school wrote a letter that said she is sending social workers and other employees to the housing across the street to help walk students across. And now it's her major concern that she's using her resources, and parents didn't feel safe allowing their kids to cross there. And so I want to remind everyone of that, and that was my comment. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're referencing the Village Green Apartments?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That was when Debbie Hall was there.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
They got a new principal.
They do now have a new principal.
So, are they doing that?
I'm not sure. I have not communicated with
I
him.
believe they are. I believe they are.
This young man,
Shouldn't any decision for the crosswalk be put on hold until the hospital gets around to deciding how they're going to rearrange their parking lot and whether or not they might put a curb in at the end of where School Street becomes their property? And additionally, if like the drainage is an issue, is there any way like could make the crosswalk diagonal to reduce costs?
Yes, so all that, yes, yes, and yes. That's why I brought it up. We're not making any decisions, we're accepting the work and the report was done and the recommendations. We're gonna open it up for public comment for at least 2 weeks. And next month I'll have for you to understand a better idea of what both what the hospital's planning for their new addition, but also what the city, because I gotta be honest, I'm not sure that we're doing stormwater. We might be able to move that drain that is a concern there, or I don't know. I know we're moving and redoing drains all along Park. And so it is an awful late change. They'll take us over to the cleaners because we're literally doing that work now, and engineers love it when you get a change order to them. And so it might cost more than a whole project, but still, we'll look at it all. We'll bring all that information back and let you look at it and make decisions on how to move forward.
Great.
Good point, young man.
Great, thank you.
All right?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
have a motion to accept the report.
I'll move that.
A second?
Do we have a motion to open public comment on the report?
Absolutely, I'll make that motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, appreciate it. Yes?
May I just add that I'd like to reiterate that we can certainly use the city's help through its communications and website mechanisms to get this out for public comment. We had this recent experience with the school study for middle school and high school.
Yeah.
I was quite impressed with the volume of public comments that I received after that document was made available through the school district and the city's communication mechanisms. If we just put it up on our website and our Facebook page at AGFTC, we're not going to get much. But if we have the city's help in pushing that out there for the public comment period, that's what's going to generate the responses.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, and maybe we do the schools too, especially since the Hudson and South is addressed by at least one school, which is the Big Cross, right? Yeah. So let's ask all, please, when you share it with my communications director, will you just make that suggestion that we share it with the school district too and ask them to share it
Oh,
out?
absolutely, yep.
And then we'll kill many birds with one stone. All right?
Good suggestion, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, guys.
Well,
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like
Great
to see these
job.
boards?
We'd love it.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Nobody ever wants to bring those boards home. This is a
Yeah,
good-
very good.
That's a good transaction.
Well, I'm taking quite a collection lately.
It was real silly walking around Ridge Street.
That's the street.
Okay, so that was 3.
Nice work, guys.
4 is a resolution to approve the minutes of the May, 4th item, resolution to approve the minutes of the May 8th, 2024 Board of Public Safety meeting as attached. Do we have a motion?
I'll motion.
I'm sorry, questions about the minutes? I apologize. No corrections? Great. Emily did a great job.
It always does, always does.
We have a motion from Mr. Haas to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Thank you. 5, is a resolution to amend the Mermaid Festival,
have it, it's a good-
prior to the Board of Public Safety resolution, the Glens Falls Board of Public Safety to include a full disclosure of Maple Street between Bay and Ridge being held just on Saturday, the 22nd, between the hours of 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. 6 is a resolution to approve the annual Independence Day Symphony Concert and fireworks display at Crandall Park in the same manner as has been held in previous years. The event is to be held on Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024, between the hours of 8 a.m. and completing after the fireworks ends around 9:30 p.m. Estimated attendance is between 3,000 to 4,000 people. Glens Falls Fire Department will handle the fireworks permit and be on site, as well as the GFPD, helping with departing traffic as in previous years. Do we have questions? Yes.
Is will they be doing the same procedures as they've done in the past, same area? Everything is exact?
Okay.
Thank
Those trees are getting so tall, we might need to cut the
I know.
tops of those trees over there. Have the Crandall Park Beautification Committee mad at me. Right? Do we have a motion to accept the resolution?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 7 is a resolution to approve the annual Glens Falls Collaborative Adirondack Holiday Festival to be held 3 days between December 6th and 8th, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. The event holder will be asking for, as in past years, to have Maple Street closed for the duration of this event.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I will probably be giving you not an amendment, but an addendum to that. The city of Glens Falls is looking to hire some entertainment and to grow that holiday festival beyond this is the collaborative that has filled out this, is that right, Chip? So we're looking to bring in the McCrells and the holiday concert with the McCrells, possibly in the newly opened event center, or if not, maybe at the Wood Theater. We're looking at a home and to close down some more streets, maybe Glen, like we did with Tommy Gerard's. Remember they had dancing in the streets there last year? It'd be nice to actually close one of the streets down and have some snow made if we could get cold weather, to have sledding on Maple or Glen. So I'll bring you something more as we get closer, okay? Let's see, that's 7. I'm out of order. 8 is new business. Under new business, we have intersections of South and Elm per the DRI plan and approval and removal. And in your packet, you'll see that back in when the DRI was approved, one of actually it's funny, we talk about the DRI, the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, as approved by the governor, started now 8 years ago. And we talk about it as a $10 million grant, but what it actually is about 5 different grants that equals $10 million. And one of the grants has to do with streetscaping from, and I just mentioned it, from Pine and Elm Street, all the way down Elm crossing south, all the way down Elm crossing Exchange Street, and then all the way down Elm passing Hudson to Park Street, and then on both sides of Park leading through it. You already had in front of you requests from community members that asked us to put in a four-way stop on Park and Elm. Instead, there was no stop on Elm or on Park at all, right? So you'd come to that stop on Elm Street to Park, and then you could go one way down Park all the way down. And you approved putting stop signs there to slow that traffic down. We agreed with the concerns of the neighbors. You've also made other changes like no parking on that section of Elm, between Park and Hudson. There was a 2021 when this whole project was used to do this was Creighton and Manning did it for us in 2021 before I was mayor, when I was on the council. In that, it looked at the corner of South and Elm Streets, and it looked at the intersection, the stoplight at South and Elm, and suggested that we go to South to go to four-way stops at South and Elm to slow it down. They could see when they did the study back in 2021 that anybody who comes down Broad Street onto South and you look up and you see a yellow or a green light, you hit the gas to get through that intersection at Sandy's before you get it. Or if you're even closer to South and Elm and you see the green light on Glen, you hit the gas and you make the run throughout the whole level, all right? And so their suggestion was in 2021 to go with a four-way stop at Park and Elm. Unfortunately, it was done so long ago and it was approved by the Common Council, and the city doesn't have really great procedures and they have policies, and we know what the policy is. The policy is to bring that to the Board of Public Safety. We didn't do it. We didn't do it, and so last week we removed that street light and put in the stop signs. They're not permanent yet. It's all temporary until we do the rest of the street work. But I wanted to make sure that you saw the study. It's in your packet, that it's making the recommendation. It's a traffic calming device. It certainly is qualifies under the MUTCV, right? Yeah. There you go.
Traffic control devices.
There you go. So it's within that. I'm wondering if you have any questions about it. If not, would you accept a resolution to turn that into a four-way stop sign? If you agree, then once we pass that recommendation, the code will be changed by the city attorney, and it will go in front of the Board of Public Safety so that the go in front of the Common Council will approve the actual change so it's in the city code. Thoughts? Questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
I had my double take going through there a week or
Yeah,
so ago.
that's
been
right.
there. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What happened to the street light? And that's
Yeah,
it.
who took the sign?
My niece called me, she goes, Tim,
Yeah.
where'd the red light go?
Yeah. And again, it was done in 2021, and we've had such trouble moving forward with all of this that it just never came to you and should have.
Okay, great.
I have these really strange routes I take from
Yeah.
A to B, and
It's
that's
great.
one I get.
Well, we all know that they put those bump outs there to make it safer, and this will be one more step to make sure everybody's coming to a stop at that intersection. With that $40 million worth of development, those street light or stop signs will be even more important to stop traffic, slow it down. Next is a constituent concern over adults and children playing basketball using portable basketball hoops on residential streets. We gave you the email. It's actually, this concern has come up last year, and it was originally a noise complaint that the neighbor believed that they shouldn't have to listen to basketballs during the day from kids playing in the streets, that those kids should really be playing basketball in the parks, and noted that we just recently that we've spent all this money on parks, shouldn't we be putting the kids there? Then it came back to us again this year. I got to be honest, when I got that complaint last year, I took a ride down to the neighborhood last year. I saw the basketball hoop and thought that I didn't choose to address it with you. So I want you to know.
Okay.
I didn't think it was a concern. But it came back to us again now as a safety concern. And apparently one other neighbor has added a basketball hoop. And so to prepare for this meeting, I asked Chief if he could to see A, how many complaints we've received, maybe how many different complaints, if he had any record of them. How many, they're saying they think it's now a traffic concern. So, Chief, can you tell us what you were able to find? What is the name of the street? Do we know? Garfield.
Garfield?
Garfield.
So there's actually 4 basketball hoops within about 150 feet of each other on Garfield Street right now.
Okay.
None of them are in the roadway. That doesn't mean that they can't move them. They all appear to be held down by rocks between the sidewalk and the street. So they're not actually in the street. We've had 2 accidents on Garfield, entire Garfield for the last 2 years, none of which involve basketball hoops. And there's been 5 calls last year and this year, all by the same person. No different complaints about the basketball hoops other than from one resident.
And were the complaints of noise, or were the complaints of, we almost saw a kid get hit, do you know about that?
The complaints have all been about noise. Now it seems that it has turned into a potential safety issue.
And is
As
asking,
we know, not all basketball hoops are on the sidewalk. A lot of them can be in the road or are in the road. So that's what I found.
thank you. Thoughts, questions?
I think that it may be a person trying to get the same agenda passed through a different avenue. And people have been doing that forever. Let kids be kids, that's my opinion. It's better than being on a phone for 24 hours, or 12 hours, whatever. Get out, get exercise, get up and move.
So as a board, we don't have any evidence of a safety issue at this time.
That's correct.
It's just unknown.
We refer back to the chief for.
I don't regard this
What
as
if
a
any?
public safety issue.
No, I don't either.
I've been an insurance adjuster for 54 years. I have never had a claim involving a kid playing basketball getting run over in the street. I'm much more concerned about is allowing parking on the streets, because that's when you get kids darting out into traffic. And besides, this is probably the least annoying thing we could have these young kids doing. I drove through there 3 times now in the past 2 days, twice after school was out, once before school was out. The only person I saw in the street was an old granny lady, an old white-haired lady with like an 8-year-old kid sort of bouncing around a basketball. This is a street which is 1 block long, stop sign to stop sign. It's not every block on that street has a stop sign. It's not Glen Street. I think this is not something we want to consider.
I agree.
So what's our decision?
We don't have to make a decision, we're hearing the concerns. We could ask the chief to let us know if there are any true safety. If you get an incident, chief, you get any reports, could you let us know? Like a concern with a kid almost getting hit? But, and I would assume then if that happened too, you'd be getting a call from the parent saying, slow these folks in the cars down. My kid and I were playing out in front, right? And the fact that we haven't gotten any calls from that or any other complaints of safety, you would think that, I certainly do appreciate that there are people that like their peace and quiet. I don't, right? I do get it. And I guess if I had to choose as mayor and that you were going to play basketball with your kid, I certainly would like you to take advantage of the $1.5 million we just spent resurfacing our basketball courts. But I also can think of much more public safety concerns that we have to address. And if this was a real safety concern, you would think you'd be getting more calls. And you might get, at least some warning, right? We get calls on other streets all the time, traffic going down too fast, kids riding on bikes, right? And Garfield, none of them are involving Garfield. So is there I don't think we need a motion. I think I'm hearing consensus that we take no action at this point and ask the chief to let us know if concerns change or grow.
Sounds good.
All right.
Agree with that.
Thank you. Very good.
Okay.
Under old business, under the new truck routes, we don't have an update for you. We have asked our local attorney to look at crafting some possible language to dissuade large vehicles from trucks and within our current abilities, right? We know that we don't have the equipment to measure the weight of trucks the way the state troopers would, but we might be able to make some recommendations that truck, that if we see somebody in a truck and it's illegal, we can at least then address the issue. We say no heavy trucks in this area, and then people could call, and then we could give them warnings or tickets based on the number of wheels, or she's looking at how we could write something that would give our officers a way to address that. And really what we'd be looking to do is by stopping people, let's say if you're an 18-wheeler and you're driving down Garfield, that you could say to them, hey, this is not legal. Here's your first warning. If you found the same truck and the same driver, then you could maybe give a ticket and for doing it. So we're trying to find some way to word it that we could do that wouldn't. We just don't want to go passing laws but we also don't want to ignore the fact that we don't want to encourage 18-wheelers to be doing deliveries on a daily basis in our neighborhoods. Everybody okay with that? That's where we're at. Constituent emails regarding potential danger of crosswalk between Ridge and Lawrence Street. The AGFTC has not been repeated. We've had them doing the reports just like the one you had today. So until we hear back from them, we'll take no action on that. Is that okay with you? Chief Smith, do you have a report for us? Yes, Tamara?
I apologize. May I please bring up an old business issue?
Sure.
One of which was the Ridge Street and Lawrence Street. So thank you for addressing that already.
You're welcome.
My second one, Mayor, we had a gentleman here maybe 2 months ago. His concern was the crosswalk just to our right outside of City Hall front door going south. There's a crosswalk.
Right.
East to west, west to east there. Just this week, I was driving down and driving south, and a gentleman in a wheelchair came from in front of the truck that was parked there, right in front of the crosswalk. I did not see him there. I did not see him until I almost hit him. Okay. And the truck is a truck that is parked there repeatedly. I don't want to say the name of the owner I don't know the owner, but I know the business that's advertised on that truck.
Okay.
They are not a business on Ridge Street, they're a business on Glen.
Okay.
I do believe it is a safety issue, Mayor, with that truck, I believe it is a safety issue, Mayor, with a parking spot there with a vehicle parked all day long.
Do we need
Even parked for 5 minutes, that someone's gonna come out in a driver going south is not going to see them in time.
With both sides too, I think his concern was both sides of that.
My concern is
So
the north side. I was going south.
Is the recommendation or the thought that we eliminate those 2 parking spaces to make the ability to see somebody entering the parking or the crosswalk at that location more visible to traffic?
Yes, sir.
That's a good idea.
And do we need to, we don't need to address that through our manual?
No.
No? Is there any further discussion regarding that? Somebody like.
She's right, that's dangerous there.
So both sides, right?
Yes.
North and south side.
North and south,
Of it, yes.
one parking spot on each side?
Yes, sir.
Making it no parking?
Correct. Please.
No, please. Do you have is that?
I'm
would you like
making
a
that motion.
There
I
we
am
go.
making that motion.
Very good.
I'll second it, because this came up a few months
Yeah.
ago.
Yes, it
Same
did.
thing you
And we
were-
sort of dropped through the cracks.
That's almost it.
I've been paying attention. I go that way a
I
lot.
try to stop.
We should do something there, so.
So could I get a clarification? Are we going to eliminate one parking spot on the north side of the southbound lane and one on the south side of the northbound lane adjacent to that crosswalk?
Oh, I thought that the motion was, and so there, it's a great question. I thought that we're talking about the same side on,
Yes,
on.
south.
So on the,
There's a curb stop that comes out on the other side, so it's
yeah,
not
there's a
as-
curb
I'm speaking
stop.
south.
Parking
Yes,
is
just
very
on the
close.
one,
Right.
so
Okay.
this side of Ridge, so this is
Correct.
Ridge?
Yes,
Where
going south.
are, if we're calling that south side of Ridge?
Correct, south.
Yep,
All right, and so.
Southwest
the-
side.
Yep, the one parking spot before the crosswalk and one parking spot right after that crosswalk would allow us to be able to see that. On the other side, you have bump out already and a curb, so it may not be necessary. I believe that's the
Right.
current thing.
Just
Just this side.
Just this side of the street.
are we requesting that DPW paint it?
We would have to, we'd have to repaint the crosswalk and remove the, yep, well, you either paint and put up a sign that says no parking.
I hate to remove too many parking spots because it harms the people who invested in our city, invested their lives and their businesses. So we know the southbound traffic is obstructed, visually obstructed, approaching that crosswalk. The northbound traffic has an entire traffic lane to see somebody rolling
Correct.
their wheelchair out in the street.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So maybe
Just
only
this
remove
side.
one parking spot.
This,
is your
this
call.
side, and you're saying what, because if you do it, you're gonna remove one in front of City Hall.
No,
No.
no, sir,
No, it's
no,
not,
sir.
it's not
It's
that
back
close.
It's
farther,
Radici,
Yep,
What,
it's on the other side.
it is.
it's right out front of Radici.
On the other side of the entrance of the parking, of the.
Oh, okay.
what I would
okay.
like, what
I
I
see.
personally would like to see, Mayor,
Talking
is
about farther.
there are two spots from the entrance to the parking lot
Yeah.
at City Hall. Here, that entrance, there are two spots between the entry, the driveway entrance and that crosswalk. There are two parking spots. I would ask that both of those parking spots be removed so we have a clear view. Because a truck, one spot back or that spot there, you don't see people. It's a big truck all
Well,
day.
and it's not,
For two
so
on the
I,
north side.
Tamara, my opinion
Yes, sir.
is that that truck is parked there illegally anyway,
Yes, sir.
right? So that, we shouldn't consider that truck and its size in this consideration. What we
Okay.
should talk about is the spot.
Yes, sir.
One spot or two, you can make that recommendation and then everybody can talk about it.
Right.
But we shouldn't be talking about a specific truck, no matter how big
No.
or small it is.
You're right.
Because we should ticket that truck anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It sounds like a lot of the issue is how big the truck is, so, and it's obstructing the view. Is there any way it could be only for like compact cars or something smaller so drivers could see over the
That's what
car?
I do.
Well, we don't currently have that, and could we amend the code? Yes, but at this point, again, I'd rather it not be about that car. It's not about that truck, and.
It's a parking
and I-
spot.
Yes, and.
I understand.
Fair enough.
Yes, sir.
There's many concerns with the owner of that
Yes,
truck.
sir.
We'll talk about that some other time.
Yes, sir.
So it's, you have you have a motion to move two spots. And it's basically the two spots right after the entrance to the entrance to our parking lot, right? And so it goes our parking lot and then two spaces and then a crosswalk. And on this side of South Street. So do we remove one space or two that would allow us to better view it? Do you want to remove one and see if it solves the problem and then remove the other? Do you want to make a motion to remove two? Mike's got a good point. And by the way, these are some of the most coveted parking spots in
I
our
know.
city.
Yeah.
And
I will amend my motion, Mayor.
Okay.
If allowed, I will amend my motion to just remove the closest one.
to it and see
Yes,
if
sir.
that addresses it and see if it satisfies our concerns. Do we have a second, or
I'll
well,
second that.
conversation? I don't want, if anybody's got any input. Great.
No, I'll say, go ahead, Mike. Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Remove one space right next to the thing, and then we'll see how it does, see if it
Between
addresses
us, we
it.
can work it out.
I don't think it matters. If we remove it, let's talk, we'll
You
find a
just
way.
can't
It
go
doesn't,
running
that's
over
what I
people in
was
wheelchairs
Right.
now, there's
I
no
don't know,
excuse.
we'll come back and talk to you about it tomorrow.
Scares the hell out of you.
Let's see, I believe, that was, we have the chief's report.
Yes.
Great.
Well, since we're talking about parking,
Yeah.
we're in the process of doing a background for employment for a traffic aide. Right now, it should be completed either by this week or the beginning of next, so I'll keep you posted on that. Other than that, I don't have anything other than what's in my report. No new business, no old business.
Okay.
And I do require a quick executive session.
Good. Personnel.
For, it's for discussing a resignation.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Chief Modar, or Deputy Chief Modar, I'm sorry, giving that promotion before we get the record of your test.
I have nothing further than my report, but I also to request the executive session for promotion consideration.
Oh, actually, no, we don't want to go into executive session. If we're talking about the one we did today, we actually want to, Chief, would you like to, well, I guess I will, because I'm the chair of the Board of Public Safety. So we interviewed 3 lieutenants, 3 firefighters for a vacant lieutenant's position. And I believe the Board of Public Safety is in unanimous agreement that, tell me the name again, Chief, I apologize. Kyle Stanich. Is the so Kyle Stanich was one of 3. I think it was worth noting for the record that the 3 officers that were interviewed, or the 3 firefighters that were interviewed today were all exemplary. It was a very difficult decision. And that we've encouraged all of them to come back as new positions open up, because we think that they're all future leaders of the Glens Falls Fire Department. With that having been said, do we have a motion to appoint, go ahead, you want to say the language for me?
Kyle Stanich.
Yes?
He's currently,
Firefighter.
okay, and we're
Firefighter.
promoting him,
To-
the appointment, promoting him to,
Lieutenant?
okay.
Effective February when?
July 1st.
July-
Or June 30th.
June 30th. There we go, effective June 30th. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Awesome. That's it for your report. Thank you, sir. That is, so I think we need a motion to go into executive session and ask the public to leave us be, and we'll go offline. When we're done, we'll have a motion to come back into executive session. So whoever makes this motion, can I get you for a motion to come back out? There will be no findings and further report.
I need a motion for the fire, to approve the deputy fire chief's report too.
Oh, there we go.
And then we'll do,
I'll make a motion.
okay, thank you, in a second, perfect.
All in favor, aye.
Awesome, perfect, and then exec, in,
Executive session in.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
perfect,
good.
and then out.
Out. Who's going to make the motion to
Same
come out of
ones.
executive?
Same
There
ones.
we go.
And then
You're in, you're out.
And adjourn.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right.
Adjourn me.
Thank you, Peter. We're done.